Clearly, I had awakened the SSS in heaven-defying talents. Yet in July, I chose the worst geospine softbone. My classmates thought I had gone insane. Little did they know, during my awakening, I activated the divine geospine system and obtained two talent abilities. The first talent, Miraculous Insect Tamer, not only allows unlimited insect contracts, but also fusion with the insects, granting use of all their skills. The second talent, Hundredfold Amplification, can improve the quality of insects, as well as enhance my physical body. At this time, I entered the Sky Character Room, swiftly biting my finger, letting blood drip onto the bone egg. Then, in my mind's eye, a pure white beetle-like insect, with open eyes slowly revived. Though I had expected it, when I saw this ancient egg was the two-white crimson ancient, I was still a little disappointed, because the two-eyed crimson ancient is the most useless bone in the first volume. Just as I felt disappointed, the system suddenly reminded me of the hundredfold amplification talent. Almost. Success. I swiftly obtained a 100 to 72,222 times amplified to I, acquiring an apex quality 9-eyed spider. Hearing the system's voice in my mind, my face lit up with a golden glow, and a great insect, probably none in the entire Yang City. Then, I immediately chose an apex, a grade 9-eyed crimson pearl. Accompanying my choice, a flash of light burst forth. From within the ancient egg, a small spider engraved with 9-eye markings slowly broke its soft shell, emerging its head. Well, it really is a 9-eyed crimson pearl. The 9-horn markings on the spider's back confirmed the identity of the 9-eyed crimson pearl before me. Seeing the 9-eyed crimson pearl perched on my hand, a golden light flickered in my eyes. If others knew that I, a high school student with no background, possessed a great insect, everyone would want to snatch it. It seems I must discreetly acquire some grade bone eggs from the market and amplify them to be grade. After a moment's contemplation, I thought, compared to a grade bone eggs, possessing a B grade 1 would not draw as much attention. And if I want certain privileges at school, I still need to show off a little. I then turned my gaze to the 9-eyed crimson pearl perched on my hand. Time for the next fusion step. I closed my eyes. Following the spirit fusion method, I began circulating its spirit power. 1 minute later, I sensed the 9-eyed crimson pearl had completely fused into one of my aperture points. I couldn't help but curse loudly. Damn, it only took 1 minute to complete the fusion. As expected of its grade talent. Excitedly, I summoned the 9-eyed crimson pearl, its information panel immediately appearing before me. Name, 9-eyed crimson pearl. External goods quality and illusion type. First grade level. Initial skills: clone, self-destruction, bewilderment, poison, stealth. Befitting and a grade quality. The earth level 2-eyed Chenjugo worm. Gained for extra skills. Yet in the next moment, I felt despondent. For having chosen the earth level stillborn egg, I would be expelled from Tianzi Hall. Meanwhile, my small room in Tianzi building would be taken back. So, rather than having my belongings thrown out later, I might as well pack them up myself before leaving. But how long would it be before I return? As I was packing, I picked up the only slightly valuable low-grade ore. This ore was a reward from the principal for my top score in the school-wide examination. I had never used it, but as I picked up this ore, the system's voice resounded in my mind again. Holy Qian Yuan Shibuda Ancestor 100-fold Slaughter Boost. Heavenly Father Swift Mane can break through snow. 1. Increase amplitude of ore quantity, gain 100 low-grade ores. 2. Increase amplitude of ore quality, gain 1 top-grade ore. Meanwhile, the system's voice transmitted made me stunned on the spot. Then I became overjoyed. Fuck yeah, a top-grade ore. You know, in the market now, the price of one low-grade ore is between 10,000 and 20,000 spirit stones, while the price of a top-grade ore is in the billions. I hit the jackpot. I didn't hesitate and chose to increase the ore's quality, accompanied by a flash of light. The low-grade ore in front of me was amplified into a top-grade one. Sensing the dense spiritual power radiating from the top-grade ore, I couldn't help but swallow my saliva. With this top-grade ore, I could probably open all 9 apertures, or even break through to the second grade without using it all. According to the rules of this world, the combat power of ancient corpses and demon insects is divided into 9 grades, like the 9 Chen Jugu I just obtained. It's a primary first-grade demon insect. To become a true warrior, one needs to open the 9 apertures. Only after opening the 9 apertures can one have a rank and become a first-grade ancient corpse. As for me, I've only opened 3 apertures so far, already reaching the first grade, but I still lack 6 more apertures. In other places, using this top grade ore wouldn't be safe. So before this room is taken away, I'll absorb it here first. With that said, I sat down cross-legged. The absorption began. At this moment, the advantage of my level talent was instantly manifested. I saw the round spiritual energy from the exquisite spirit stone rushing eagerly towards me. In just over a minute, my IQ points easily broke open one by one. Witnessing this, my heart couldn't help but tremble. Originally, it would have taken at least a month. Yet now, in just a minute, I had opened them all. This is the power of its level talent, combined with the exquisite spirit stone's monstrous nature, suppressing my inner shock. I continued absorbing. The spirit stone struck at several other IQ points. Soon, the 5th IQ point opened, then the 6th IQ point. Accompanied by the spiritual energy from the exquisite stone, my strength dwindled, yet kept growing stronger. 10 minutes later, all 9 major IQ points in my body had been opened. At this point, half of the spirit stone's energy had been consumed by me. I let out a long breath. After opening the 9 IQ points, I did not choose to stop cultivating. Instead, I continued opening more. Originally, according to this world's cultivation system, to grow stronger further, one could only attempt to break through to the nascent soul realm. But through the miraculous jade replenishing art, I learned that, after the 9 major IQ points, there were 90 minor ones to open. And in the divine bone sculpting art, it happened to record the methods for opening those 90 remaining IQ points. So I chose to continue opening them. With my amplification talent, aided by the exquisite spirit stone's replenishment, opening 99 IQ points might not be much slower than just opening the first 9. Thus, following the miraculous jade ancient arts methods, I began cultivating to open all 99 IQ points. Half an hour passed in a blur. When I opened my eyes again, the exquisite spirit stone in my hand had turned to powder. At the same time, my body had undergone some changes. My bones had become sturdier, my muscles more defined. My eyes, full of spirit, glittered like electricity. From opening IQ points, 1 exquisite spirit stone had taken me from 3 open IQ points to 15. Feeling such great expenditure, I couldn't help but sigh. In this world, how many could afford an exquisite spirit stone? Before even reaching the nascent soul realm, most ordinary cultivators wouldn't splurge on spirit stones during the IQ point opening period. Yet 1 exquisite spirit stone had allowed me to open 15 IQ points, making me this world's only 15 IQ point cultivator. My current strength should be able to match a nascent soul expert barely. As I stood there, stunned, I suddenly noticed the 9 Genju that resided in my IQ points seemed to have undergone some changes. Seeing this scene, I quickly summoned the 9 Genju. 9 Genju, exquisite great spirit beast, skills clone, infatuation, self-destruct, venom, scouting. High-level skills like clone, illusion, self-destruction, and poison burst forth, paving the way forward. It seems the spiritual energy from the exquisite primordial stone earlier was not just consumed by me alone. Looking at the information panel, I realized that during my cultivation, the 9 Jugu also took the opportunity to cultivate along. At this moment, it has advanced from the first stage to the higher levels of the first stage. I then exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and stood up. I've packed everything. It's time to go home, but I didn't know that at this moment, outside the door, 2 members from the high ranks of the Celestial Order were waiting. These 2 were sent by the school to revoke my privileges as a gifted student. Sister Lan, what are we waiting for? Let's just open the door and drive out that kid named Su Sha. The hot-tempered Wang Cheng among the 2 said impatiently. Don't you remember the rules of the Celestial Order? If he's cultivating inside, and we barge in, causing him to deviate from his path, who will take responsibility? Facing Wang Cheng's impatience, Xia Yilin just shook her head. Her beautiful eyes were fixed on the room's door. Her attitude firm and resolute, she insisted on waiting for the other party to come out on their own. 10 minutes later, I opened the door and was startled to see the figure standing at the entrance. Kid, you finally came out, Wang Cheng said impatiently. But the moment I opened the door, Xia Yilin, standing beside me, seemed to notice something. Her expression suddenly changing, she looked at me, her beautiful eyes filled with shock. Oblivious to Xia Yilin's reaction, Wang Cheng walked straight up to me and mocked, Kid, you sure are impressive. You've already become a reserve member of the Celestial Order. Yet on your coming-of-age ceremony day, you still chose a low-grade spirit beast. But what Wang Cheng didn't expect was, as soon as he finished speaking, Xia Yilin, standing behind him, let out a soft rebuke toward him. Cheng, be polite. Hearing her elder sister's order, Wang Cheng was taken aback. But since it was an order from his senior, he could only obey and step back. You'd have seen him before? I asked, puzzled. You must be student Suyu, right? Facing my question, Xia Yilin did not answer directly. Instead, a meaningful smile appeared on her face. I nodded in response. For some reason, seeing the expression on Xia Yilin's face, I felt a sense of secrecy being revealed. And the nearby Wang Cheng, witnessing the scene, was dumbfounded. He had never seen his elder sister treat anyone so politely before. Student Su, I was sent by the school. Xia Yilin began. The school has asked you to remove your belongings from this room and return the room key. Additionally, you are no longer permitted to enter the celestial building. Xia Yilin spoke politely, not sounding the least bit confrontational. I understand, thank you, senior sister. I nodded my head obligingly. It didn't sound like something meant to be touching at all. I understand. Sorry for the trouble, senior sister. I nodded slightly. Regarding the school's right to recall its celestial character class members, I did not find it strange. I handed over the room key immediately, took some belongings and left the celestial character building. After I left, Wang Cheng finally couldn't help but stop me. Do you know that kid just now? Faced with Wang Cheng's question, Xia Yilin did not respond. Instead, he stared in the direction I left, muttering softly. Interesting, a top-grade poet in sophomore year. A talent of that level, even in the capital, would be considered a prodigy. How foolish to choose a disabled good-for-nothing? Xia Yilin spoke in a low voice, stopping him. You said that kid is a top-grade poet. Are you joking? Wang Cheng looked confused. Top-grade poet? What top-grade poet? Did I say those for words? Faced with Wang Cheng's inquiry, Xia Yilin chose to feign ignorance. Leaving the school campus, I was in no hurry to go home. Instead, I decided to go to the business street first. Possessing 100-fold amplified spiritual talent, I was eager to see the prices of grade C spirit insects and low-grade primordials. And at this moment, a major incident was happening. On the business street as well, several students were taken hostage by a heretic maniac who was negotiating on the business street. The heretics, the largest cult in the world. People only knew that their believers were all lunatics. Normally, when they had no missions, they might seem like ordinary people, blending into the crowd. But once they had a mission, they would stop at nothing to accomplish it, disrupting the balance of society. And at this moment, on Yang Business Street, a middle-aged man in his 40s was surrounded by dozens of Yang law enforcers. And beside him, a gigantic praying mantis spirit insect was holding a female student hostage with its sickles. Next to that female student, several more students lay crumpled on the ground, facing this massive spirit insect. They dared not move a muscle. Huang Yeji said, just release those students, and we can negotiate everything. The enforcement team leader, Captain Zhao, looked serious. Do you think I would believe you? I have something as important as an ancient vertebra on me. You may let me go for the sake of a few students. Huang Yeji let out a cold laugh. Hearing his words, Zhao's expression changed. Indeed, the vertebra he carried was very important. He could not possibly let him go. Yeji, if you release those students, I'll deal with you one by one. You may have a chance to escape. But if you keep holding those students hostage, you will absolutely not be able to escape. As Huang Yeji and the enforcement team confronted each other, I finally arrived at the commercial street. I saw a crowd of people gathered, watching the spectacle. I learned about the situation inside. However, after understanding the situation, my first thought was to run away. But as I was about to leave, I suddenly saw a familiar figure among the student hostages. How could she be here? Seeing this person, I was startled. Chen Chongqian, my childhood friend. We have known each other since we were young. We were very close. However, when we entered high school, Chen Chongqian's family moved to the main city for her education, to provide her with a better learning environment. Seeing Chen Chongqian now, I stopped in my tracks. What should I do? I took a deep breath to calm myself down. After breaking through to the 15th aperture, my observation ability had greatly improved. However, I could only sense the strength of everyone present, except for the one called the madman and the enforcement team leader. Based on the strength of the members of the enforcement team, I roughly deduced that the madman should be at the second or even the sword level. His strength was too powerful. I could not handle him alone. After estimating Huang Yeji's strength, I realized my weakness and decided not to target him. Instead, I shifted my gaze toward the giant mantis creature, commanded by Huang Yeji to hold Chen Chongqian and the others hostage. The mantis creature's sea-grade lone wolf mantis bone suggested it was likely a high-level first-rank or early second-rank creature. After deducing the strength of the giant mantis creature, I stood among the crowd, secretly holding the 9-eyed dusty pearl bone in my hand. The divine bone scripture recorded a secret technique to temporarily turn an external bone into an internal one, allowing me to integrate its power. Following the secret technique in the divine bone scripture, I began the integration process. As I circulated my life force, the originally external 9-eyed dusty pearl bone slowly merged into my body. As the dusty pearl bone merged, my body also underwent changes. If I were to remove my shirt now, 9-eye-shaped markings would be visible on my back. After integrating the 9-eyed dusty pearl bone, I closed my eyes and sensed 5 new abilities that did not originally belong to me appear in my mind. Furthermore, after integrating the high-level first-rank 9-eyed dusty pearl bone, after fusing with the 9 dusty eyes bone pearl, I closed my eyes. In the depths of my mind, I suddenly gained 5 skills that did not originally belong to me. After fusing with the high-grade 9 morning pearl, my combat strength seemed to have increased significantly. However, I did not act rashly. Rescuing someone of a higher level still required waiting for the right moment. At this moment, on the outskirts of the business street, Wang Cheng and Xia Yilan, who had just left school, also arrived to intercept. You see, that's the stinky brat we just chased away. Xia Yilan frowned as she spoke, following the direction Wang Cheng pointed. I immediately saw myself standing in the corner of the outskirts. He looks a bit different from when he was at school. Upon seeing me, Xia Yilan, for some reason, sensed that there was a slight change in my aura. It was like a demonic insect. On the other side, in the inner area, the law enforcement squad leader, Huang Yeji, spoke up. I promise you, if you hand over that spinal egg, I'll let you go. And from then on, no one will ever pursue you. Don't think I don't know you're waiting for Yang Cheng's law enforcement squad to arrive. You have 1 minute. If you don't leave, even if I die, I'll take these people down with me. To reinforce his determination to go down fighting, after saying those words, Huang Yeji directly ordered the lone wolf mantis to swing its sickle at a student. In an instant, blood gushed from the student's thigh, spurting out like a fountain. Seeing the blood spray, Huang Yeji stood there, insane, laughing maniacally. I've decided. In 3 seconds. If you don't retreat, I'll kill these students first, then slaughter all the onlookers outside. And then, the spectators outside, upon hearing Huang Yeji's words, immediately panicked. I, hiding in the corner, saw Huang Yeji's crazed demeanor, and felt a tingling sensation. I retreated into an already abandoned shop, and took a deep breath. Then I slowly uttered these 2 words. Mirage technique. As I activated the mirage technique, a white mist rose from my face, obscuring my features and clothing. Then, using the stealth technique, I vanished from sight, as if I had become invisible. Entering stealth mode, I left the shop. Since everyone's attention was focused on Huang Yeji, no one noticed me in stealth mode. However, I did not know that when I retreated into the shop, a pair of beautiful eyes had already noticed me. Did he flee because he couldn't bear to watch what was about to happen? Xie Yilin wondered as she watched me enter the shop. He seems to have found himself in a dilemma, facing Huang Yeji's refusal to retreat. He twisted his face into an ugly sneer. Kill, he said coldly after 3 seconds. At this moment, the squad leader Zhao found himself in a dilemma, facing Huang Yeji's refusal to retreat. He immediately revealed a hideous grin. Kill. After a 3-second pause, Huang Yeji uttered that single cold word. With Huang Yeji's command, the lone wolf mantis raised its sickle once more. But this time, its target was the hostage's throat. Don't spare me. I don't want to die. The student whose thigh had been stabbed, sensing the threat of death, cried out madly without regard for dignity. Ha ha ha. Hearing the hostage's wails, begging for his life, Huang Yeji burst into laughter. Blame those law enforcement officers. It's their fault for not complying. The demonic insect mantis sickle descended. No one noticed that at the moment the mantis swung its sickle, a stealthy figure was standing right beside the mantis, keeping watch. Seeing the student about to die before his eyes, the law enforcement squad leader Zhao couldn't help but roar. But it was useless. The demonic insect did not heed his command. The onlookers outside couldn't bear to keep their eyes open, not daring to witness the impending scene. I, who had been waiting with my clone technique, saw that the timing was almost right, so I directly activated the clone technique. Then my misty white figure manifested itself, accompanied by the trembling of the clone technique. My body shuddered, and an identical figure separated from within me, under my control. The moment the clone appeared, it charged toward the mantis. Witnessing this, the mantis immediately attacked, swinging its sickle directly at the clone. Seeing the clone rushing toward the mantis, I shouted, and decisively gave the order. The clone, manifested for less than 3 seconds, immediately embraced the mantis and self-destructed. A tremendous boom erupted from the lone wolf mantis, the thunderous sound attracting everyone's attention. At the same time, covered in white mist, I charged toward the law enforcement leader, shouting those 2 words at him. Before anyone could react, I grabbed the dazed Chen Chongqian and fled, leaving everyone in a state of bewilderment. The law enforcement squad leader snapped out of it instantly, quickly ordering his men to rescue the hostages. Zhao Li, go and get the hostages out of here. As he issued the order, squad leader Zhao couldn't help but glance at me. But by then, I was already fleeing rapidly with Chen Chongqian. Zhao could only vaguely make out a blurred figure in the distance, a powerful warrior with a bone ability. But there was no time for Zhao to ponder this matter. The top priority was rescuing those students. So he ordered his men to go after Huang Yeji directly, buying Zhao Li time to rescue the hostages. Stall Huang Yeji, who saw their demonic insect get blown up like that. Huang Yeji roared with rage. Able to control a combat demonic insect, that person must be at the master level. Were such a powerful master, why would they waste so much time with him? At this moment, Huang Yeji was dumbfounded and shocked. The only thing he knew was that he had to flee now. Escape from the law enforcement team's encirclement. Meanwhile, among the onlookers outside, all their thoughts were fixed on the person who had just rescued the hostage. How did that person's aura seem so familiar? But he can't be just an ordinary cultivator, can he? How could he wield a combat demonic insect? Yet my senses have never failed me before. That person must be him. Suyu, the student. Indeed, I'm growing more and more curious about you.